there, it's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com, and today we're going to be using the Perfectly Preserved to make another card. I've made several on my blog, and I also have several on Stamp Nation. So let's do this one. It's going to be just a little different than the others. I'm going to have more of a vintage feel to it. This is the Travel Journal wheel, and it's one of those builder wheels. So it has a spindle here, and you can put 1 or 2 or 3 different wheels. I don't have an ink cartridge, but they come so that you can ink each different cell a different color and have one roll across with 3 different colors and 3 different wheels. So it's kind of cool. But I just want to use the one, and I'm going to just roll it across my soft suede ink pad. And then roll it across my very vanilla cardstock. And I'm okay with the different shading that's coming out. Actually, I want some lighter and some darker. Once I finish with this side, I realized that I think it's too busy. I stamped it too many times, so I turned it over. I didn't ink it up as much, and I stamped them further apart, and I do like that better. I'm going to pull in the Summer Silhouette stamp set because I like some of these images for background stamping. I'm using Summer Starfruit and Baja Breeze also, along with my soft suede. And we'll do the leaves. Oh, I love these leaves in the Summer Starfruit, and this great graphic pattern in Baja Breeze. And I'm just going to stamp that. I think I want it, yeah, I want it really light. So let's just, okay, and then the leaves, Summer Starfruit. Aren't those just fabulous? Okay, stamp those a couple times. Alright, so now I'm going to actually cut this in half. It is 3 3/4, so what is half of that? It's about 1 7/8. Let's see. And then I want to cut it in thirds. This is 5 inches, so I think that's about 1 3/4 or so. I don't have a calculator, and I'm not a mental math genius. Okay, so it's not quite. I'm going to just cut a little bit off of this so that they're closer in size. So put these all back in order the way they were stamped, and I'm just using my crumb cake and a sponge to add some sponging around the edges of each square, or actually rectangle. And I'm going to do the same thing on all 6 pieces. Now all my little rectangles are going to be adhered to a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Very Vanilla. If you're viewing this on YouTube, be sure to click through the link below the video to visit my blog. I will have all of the information about this card there. And we'll just take each rectangle, do the snail adhesive on the back, and then arrange them. Now I'm not pressing these down very hard because I may need to move them around a little. I might not have them exactly where they need to be, so I'm just lightly laying them on top of my layer. And now I'll fuss for a minute and make sure these are all straight and even. So now I have this all set, and I'm probably going to put this on a Baja Breeze cardstock base. So we'll set these aside for a second and work on the focal point of the card. I have a piece of Very Vanilla, and I'm going to stamp the jar right onto it. And then there's a little cutie little flower in the Summer Silhouettes stamp set. And I normally would use the flower from the Perfectly Preserved. It's right here. It's really cute. But since I used the images, some other images from this set, I want to continue on and make sure that my images are coordinating and the feel of the card runs through the same, all the way through the card. Which I'm sure if I use that other flower it would be totally fine. But I'm just changing it up a little bit, and I'm stamping my flowers before I cut this out because I want to make sure they get stamped right so that I don't have to stamp and cut my jar twice. Now I'll use my framelit from the Cannery set. Cuts this jar out just perfectly. Run that through my Big Shot. Whole lot easier than hand cutting, and these framelits are less expensive than punches. So There we go. Perfect. I'm using my label framelits to make a really cool shape here. I punched it out one time and then I'm just lining it up and running it through again so that it makes another cut. And you can see now I have this really cool shape that looks very different than what the original intention of the die was. You can play around with this and actually make a lot of different shapes and labels. Here's another one that I made. And here's another one that I made. And this one I love. I kind of smudged that though, so bummer dude. I'm going to use a stamp that says spoil yourself today, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Up Jig because I really want to make sure I place this perfectly. I'm going to be careful this time not to smudge it again. And actually that other label that I showed you, it's a little bit big for the card that I'm making. So, oh, there we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to let that sit for a second to make sure that I don't smudge it. And there's a better look at it. I'm going to do just a little bit of stamping on here. Stamp that off a couple times. I want it really light. Summer Starfruit. And then this fun graphic stamp, Baja Breeze. Just add a little bit on there. And then we'll do a little sponging with the crumb cake. I'm going to do a little sponging also on my jar. Can't sponge everything else and leave this plain. Then I have a 2.5 inch circle punch with Summer Starfruit. I use the square lattice embossing folder with it. I'm just sponging a little bit. I'm now ready to put all my elements together onto my card. I'm just taking 3 different ribbons here that coordinate with all the pieces and colors that are already on my card. The crochet trim, the Baja Breeze seam binding, and the Summer Starfruit, is that stitch satin I think it's called. And we're just putting an antique brad through all of those. So now we'll begin layering. I have done a little bit of soft suede sponging around my Baja Breeze cardstock base and around the vanilla. And these two I'm just going to lace flat down, and I'm just using the liquid glue on this just because it was already in my hand. I've used 3 mini glue dots on the back of my ribbon piece. If I use dimensionals it would pop up too much, and if I use the liquid glue it would take too long to dry. Actually, let me move that over just a little bit. I want room for this lovely greeting. And we'll just add it right there, and voila, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed today's card. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I think I may use this layout and make a clean and simple card and show you how you can use the same elements to make something a little more simple. Kind of thinking about doing that. What do you guys think? Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter already, be sure to hop over to catherinepooler.com and do so. You'll get an exclusive video series which kicks off with how to tie a flat bow, and then take that same stamp set and use it to make different cards. Also, be sure to join Stamp Nation, where there's lots more inspiration. I think we're about to put up the 230th video on the site. It's a great inspirational site with lots of training and wonderful things going on. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Have a wonderful day, and let me know if you have any questions.